I thought I would also take a minute and go over your belt and the things that come in the kit for the belt. So what's on your belt, and there is a front and a back, are going to be little boxes. And whether they pretend to carry ammo or they just look cool or whatever, that's what they are. You have these pieces, and in actuality, pardon me, they look like this, completely untrimmed. You can see that they have quite a big lip on them. And that will need to be cut away. And then you'll want to sand them till they have a nice straight feel to them so you don't feel anything curve out. That's going to take you some time. Lexan scissors are fabulous for that. And then a Dremel, kick that thing into, medium and just zoom, zip down the edges. And it cuts through things so quickly, so you have to be gentle and careful, but it really quickens it up. But this will take you some time. I've been sanding and working on some things today, and I've been at it about 3 hours. So I'm already 3 hours into it, and I'm not even done. Some other parts that you'll have, these are your belt boxes. They're ammunition boxes, and they go on your belt. You have the back, the front, and a flip top. So untrimmed, they're pretty bulky. You'll have extra boxes. There are actually 6 little tiny boxes that will go on the front, and 5 that will go on the back. Now, one of the first pieces of advice I was given was don't trim this right away. Put this all together, then trim it at the very last. And everything will Velcro on. So glue and Velcro. But this is because once you glue everything on and once you put your corset together and everything, you may find that you will be needing extra room here, and it can also overlap. So, don't be hasty and feel like you need to trim it down right away. So put this on last, and remember how much it can overlap, and keep it that way, and then you have some expansion too. So the tools you kind of need are your Lexan scissors. You're going to need your Dremel, and then I have a very fine piece of sandpaper here. It's black. I'm not entirely sure why, but and I have gone over the edges just to give it that super fine feel. The reason why is you are going to Velcro or screw these on, and then they will possibly scratch this. So how does this all go together? First off, once you've trimmed these down, the next thing that you're going to do is drill holes into this, and this actually attaches directly onto your belt. And one of the things that does not come with the kit is you will need to buy screws and a nut to go on the back here, and they just screw right on through. So you'll be positioning these with tape and putting with a hole there, and then using like a fine tip Sharpie to put a point, and then you'll know where to drill here. You need to space them evenly out. The box will be the thing that goes on your edges, and they'll kind of hide your seams. So that's where you would do. So make sure that you space these all out, and probably painters tape them on and know where you want them to be. And then you can put the dots and then drill holes and then bolt these in. This box then will glue directly, or Velcro, right, onto that one. You can see it fits perfectly. And that will give you that nice look without this having any weird screws or bulky seams. So that's what that is. Ta-da! And then that'll go right onto your belt. You can imagine that with a bunch of them on there, and it'll actually look pretty nice. This still needs to be sanded. I've still got too much of a lip on there. This is just rough cut with my Lexan scissors. And then these will be sanded on. So those aren't too hard, but again, something you do at the last, and that's pretty much how they assemble. Kevin gives you a lot of extras, 3 I think, and even extras on these, so you have plenty to ruin. I have been trimming, and I've ruined 1 already, and I haven't assembled it yet. Some other, what was I going to say? So some other tips that I got was that when you're putting these on, anything on, use industrial Velcro. And I just purchased this and have just kind of looked at it. It came in a box. I bought the Velcro brand. It was recommended by the Velcro brand, industrial strength. And I have to admit, I've tried a piece of this and it sticks like crazy. So it's some pretty good strong stuff. It's got a nice, really good sticky back. You may or may not need glue with this back. You might need CA glue. But when I just tested 2 pieces together, it stuck. It was pretty awesome. So yeah, buy the upgrade to the better Velcro and you'll be happier. So then let's go over really quickly your box, your little ammunition boxes. So this is what it looks like as you kind of get it assembled. It is supposed to have that kind of feel look to it. Now whether you raise it up and you have that look to it, that's up to you. In the CRL, you can actually see this gap that's in there. But people I've seen have gone ahead and gone like that in order to get rid of that ugly gap. I don't blame them. So you can make this functional or non-functional. If it's non-functional, then you don't trim this piece off. It just sits there, and this piece will go right on top of it, and no big deal. However, this has such a snug fit. When he, just to give you a show, when he designed it, like these are exactly equal, and he should have made this just a little bit wider so it would slide better on top, and it doesn't. So the trick with that is actually to cut out right here, right where, you know, a little bit wider than this would be. And then it gives it a nice bend, and it can flex in enough for this flip lid to go on very easily and actually fit without really, you know, being too bended and weird. So that's kind of a wonky thing. So you trim this down pretty nicely. This has a bunch of lines on it that I'm guessing are where you orient the box. Like this would be, the square would be where your Velcro is. I'm going to wait till the very end and I'm going to look at the CRL. The CRL is the Costume Reference Library, and for the Legacy Era Female Stormtrooper or FemTK, they do go on the sides, but I want to double check whether they go up a little higher or whether they're flush. So that's one of the things I haven't seen is whether it's 2 inches or ½ an inch or whatever. So I'm going to put on my Velcro right at the last when I double check how everything looks, because I want to be 501st approved. So this kit is by Kevin Ware. Imperial Surplus, but he's KW Designs on Facebook, and that's the easiest way to contact him, and it's a pretty lovely kit. So you can see once it's trimmed, this will fit nicely in here. This is actually smaller, and that does require you to go over your Dremel with this and make this a nice straight side and get rid of any lips. And then I went over it and sanded it. He does have 3 guide holes that you can kind of see here, and they were pretty decently accurate. I went ahead and drilled the first one out, put my bracket, and then put 2 dots, and then they were just slightly off, but if you still drilled his guides, you'd be fine. So yeah, that makes it a pretty nice deal. So that will attach via screws. Some hints about this is if the screws go in and they're not entirely tight or anything, so it's not like this is going to be a super tight screw. I'm probably going to see if I can't change this up to glue or, gosh, I don't know what else. Try and see if I can find a screw and a nut to go with this, or some sort of little mini bolt. But you can also see here that this is going to make a sticky thing. Now if you want this to be functional and you're going to put your cell phone in it, I recommend a piece of foam. Just what you want to do is glue this thing on and then screw right into it, and it will keep, you know, your screw from hitting it. This is just foamies, like craft foam from Joanne. It's pretty awesome stuff. So without me putting all of them in together, you're going to glue this together. And whether you use E6000, that one's kind of hard because you got to be able to hold it or clamp it. So I would go ahead and use super glue. That's my personal favorite. And then you can hold it and it'll, you know, fix up in about, you know, 3 minutes or so. And then this piece actually goes on top. And if you do screw through the top of this, you'll have to mark where you want them to be, and then put your screws going down, and then you just paint them with nail polish remover. Pardon me, not nail polish, but white nail polish will work great. And you can see that that's going to have a nice look to it. I plan actually to glue this onto the top here and paint this white. And in fact, in the future, if I did this, I would actually move his hole down, and I'd probably go down just a little bit. But I plan to paint this white with white nail polish, so you can't tell. And then I'm just going to use glue and just glue this on the top here. And like you see, it'll flip up nicely, and it fits just fine. And in fact, it is meant to have a little bit of a gap. And if this gap kind of bothers you, like I said, it's on the CRL, so that's the way it is. You know, put some pieces of foam in there, and then at least you won't see, you know, visually see a gap. So that's how your boxes come together. As you can tell, that's quite a bit of trimming that you're going to have to do. And it's not too bad, but it is a little bit of work. And like I said, this can be functional or non-functional. So if you don't want to deal with it, don't take this out. But then it won't have actually the same give if you don't remove this. So you may need to remove part of it just to get that bend in so that the lid will fit on it. So I still recommend that. And the back, obviously, fits right in rather nicely. And yep, and you're gonna just attach this to your belt using Velcro. So happy belt building.